Rob Reiner, the famous Hollywood movie maker, and his wife were found badly killed inside their home in Brentwood, Los Angeles, on the afternoon of Sunday, December 14th. The news hit everyone really hard, shocking even people in the movie world who are used to sad things. But what has upset people even more than the terrible killing itself is not just how he died. It's who the police say did it. And even scarier is that just 9 days before his life ended so suddenly, Rob Reiner had talked openly about his son in a way that now feels impossible to forget. So what did Rob Reiner say in those last days? Why does that moment feel so important now? And was this awful event really something no one could see coming? Or were there clear signs that people missed? Stay with us as we go through every detail. Rob Reiner's last days. Loved director Rob Reiner and his wife of 36 years, Michelle Singer Reiner, were found dead inside their Los Angeles home on Sunday, December 14th. Less than 24 hours later, their 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, was taken by police at 9:15 p.m. and arrested for suspected murder. What makes the story so hard to accept is how normal everything seemed right before it happened. In the days before they died, Rob and Michelle were not staying home alone or hiding. They were going out with friends, talking and laughing, making plans. Less than 48 hours before they were killed, they had dinner with Maria Shriver at the Brentwood restaurant Amici. According to the restaurant's owner, Tancredi Duca, nothing seemed wrong. Staff remembered the group ordering the winter special: Du Sol and lemon caper sauce with broccolini, roasted potatoes, and pasta. It was a regular night. No clear fights, no feeling of danger. The next evening, December 13th, Rob and Michelle went to Conan O'Brien's yearly holiday party. The party is known as a fun, easy event among Los Angeles comedy and movie friends. Guests have included Bill Maher, Martin Short, Adam Sandler, and Tom Hanks. This year, Jane Fonda was there too. Rob and Michelle came with their son, Nick, even though he was not invited. According to reports, they brought him because they felt worried about leaving him home alone because of how he had been acting lately. Right away, Nick acted different from everyone else. While others wore nice clothes, he wore a hoodie. He stared at people, asked for their full names, asked if they were famous. Many news places later said Nick acted strange all night, making guests feel uneasy. At one point, he supposedly yelled at his dad. A family friend later called his actions spoiled, while others said the story was made bigger and thought Nick was just having a hard time living in the shadow of his dad and grandpa. What everyone seemed to agree on was that Rob and Michelle cared a lot about their son and were trying hard to help him. At some point during the party, the three left Conan O'Brien's house. It is still not clear if they left together or at different times. The next day, Rob and Michelle had plans. They were waiting for massage therapists to come to their home and had dinner planned later that evening with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Those plans never happened. When a massage therapist came to the Reiner home on Sunday afternoon and got no answer at the gate, she called the couple's daughter, Romy. Romy went to the house. At 3:38 p.m., police were called. By early evening, yellow police tape was all around the property. Neighbors saw close friends, including Billy Crystal and Larry David, come to the scene. Just before 9:00 p.m., Los Angeles police said two people had been found dead inside the home. Rob Reiner was 78. Michelle Singer Reiner was 70. Both were found with knife cuts to their throats, along with many other injuries on their bodies. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner later said their deaths were caused by many sharp force injuries. In the hours after, police started looking at the couple's youngest son. Reports say Nick Reiner was moving around Los Angeles that day. At some point on December 14th, he was thought to have gone to the Pierside Santa Monica Hotel, about 11 miles from the family home. Police checked the place but did not find him. Later that night, security cameras showed Nick walking into an AM Market almost 18 miles away. He went in, came out, went back in, and bought a blue Gatorade. He looked calm, not in a rush. Within 15 minutes, he was taken by police. Nick Reiner was put into the Twin Towers jail in downtown Los Angeles early on December 15th. On Tuesday, December 16th, prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Police have not yet told what exactly made them think he did it, nor have they shared a possible reason why. What keeps bothering people about the case is what came out just hours before everything ended. According to reports, Rob told close friends at the party that he was scared his son could hurt him. At the time, the words may have sounded like worry from stress. Now they feel different and they make people ask a question that won't go away. Was this awful event really something no one could see coming? Or were there clear warning signs right there for everyone to see? To understand why that question feels so heavy, we have to go back. Long before the police work, before the big news stories, and before the last hours, Rob Reiner had already lived a life that many people knew about. A life shaped by the stories he told, the characters he made, and the movies that helped people understand love, friendship, fear, and fairness. The movies that made Rob Reiner's career famous. Rob Reiner first became a face people knew in American homes in the 1970s, becoming popular as an actor on All in the Family. But by the early 1980s, he made a big change that would shape the rest of his work. He stopped acting all the time and decided to direct movies full-time. That change started in 1984 with This Is Spinal Tap, a low-cost, fake documentary that slowly became a favorite classic and showed Reiner as a director with smart ideas and confidence. From there, he kept making hits. Over the next 10 years, he moved easily between different kinds of stories, directing The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men, and The American President. It was a special time of making many different types of movies, one that made him known as a movie maker who did not stick to just one style. Even after stopping regular acting in 1978, Reiner never fully left the screen. He played smaller parts in movies like Postcards from the Edge, Sleepless in Seattle, The First Wives Club, and The Wolf of Wall Street. On TV, he played himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Simpsons, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and 30 Rock, and later played the dad of Zooey Deschanel's character on New Girl. One of Reiner's most loved movies came in 1986 with Stand By Me. Based on Stephen King's short story, The Body, the movie followed 4 boys on a trip to find the body of a missing kid. It made good money and got Reiner nominations from the Golden Globes, the Directors Guild of America, and the Independent Spirit Awards. The movie itself was nominated for Best Drama at the Globes and for Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars, and over time it became one of the most loved growing-up stories ever. Years later, the young actors in the movie said Reiner made them feel safe and important on set even as kids. Will Wheaton later said that Reiner never made young actors feel like they could be replaced or just lucky to be there. Instead, he guided them kindly and let them act naturally in their roles. Reiner himself later said Stand By Me was the project that meant the most to him, saying it was the first time a movie really showed his own personality and feelings, mixing funny parts with sad parts in a way that felt very personal. For all the movies that made his career big, the most important story Rob Reiner was living was not on screen. It was happening in his real life at the same time. The love story behind Rob Reiner's best movies. Rob Reiner first met Michelle Singer Reiner during the making of When Harry Met Sally. At the time, Rob had been single for 10 years after his divorce from Penny Marshall, a marriage that lasted 10 years and included Rob adopting Marshall's daughter, Tracy. By his own words later, he had gotten to a point where he did not think he would ever be with someone again. Meeting Michelle changed that. As the movie was still being made, Rob started rethinking its ending. What had been written as a story where the two main characters did not end up together suddenly felt not right. He later said that meeting Michelle 3/4 of the way through making the movie showed him that real connection and being together were still possible, and that feeling became the heart of the movie's final part. The movie became one of the most loved romantic stories of its time, quietly showing the love story that was happening behind the camera. That same year in 1989, Rob and Michelle got married. They went on to build a family together, having 3 kids over the next few years. Their oldest son, Jake, was born in 1991. Nick came 2 years later. Their daughter, Romy, was born in 1997. By the end of the 1990s, their life together looked steady and happy. In 1999, they posed for a W magazine photo shoot inside their California home, an afternoon that would later be remembered as a true picture of who they were as a couple. The photographer, Michael Mundy, later said that the shoot felt very natural because everyone already knew each other. According to him, the comfort between Rob and Michelle was real and easy. He described the pictures as true moments of love rather than fake poses, remembering how Rob made Michelle laugh and how easily they were close to each other. He said the warmth and touching between them was clear, and that taking those photos felt like a gift instead. Of work, Mundy also noticed the way Michelle looked at Rob, saying it was obvious they loved each other deeply and cared just as much about their kids. He later said he was glad to have saved them exactly as they were, saying anything less would have felt fake. In his opinion, Rob never had to try hard to show who he was or what his work was because both were great on their own. Over the next 26 years, that relationship only got stronger. Rob later described their marriage as something that got better with time, saying the relationship grew as they became best friends. He thanked Michelle for helping him grow as a person, saying she had helped raise him in ways that were more important than job or fame. Others around them saw the same thing. Cinematographer Barry Markowitz, who worked with Rob on several movies, described Michelle as Rob's steady support, calling her the strength behind everything. He called her the center of the home, someone who kept everything together. Mundy said the same, describing Michelle as strong, real, and firmly in the everyday world, a balance to Rob's growing up as the son of famous writer and performer Reiner. According to him, Michelle's straightforward way and sense of humor let her fit easily in Rob's world while still keeping him real outside of it. By the time they died, those closest to Rob and Michelle said everything looked good. A long marriage, a calm life, a family that had made it through its toughest times. But that calm had been hard to get, and it had not come without pain. Years before the killings, Rob Reiner had already shared the most dangerous problem inside his own home. Not in private, not looking back, but in a movie that showed his real fears as a dad. What looked like art back then now feels like a warning. The movie Rob Reiner made about his own family. 10 years before Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner were killed in their home, Rob made a movie that showed the hard times inside his own family, including his relationship with his son, Nick Reiner. Nick has now been arrested and put in jail on suspicion of killing his parents with the lapped saying they believe he did it. But long before the case went to court, the problems between Rob, Michelle, and their son had already been shown to the public in another way. In 2015, the Reiner family put out Being Charlie, a movie that told about the pain of loving a child fighting addiction. Nick, who had fought drug problems for years, co-wrote the story with a friend he met in rehab, using their real experiences. Rob directed the movie, using his own view as a dad trying to handle fear, control, and feeling hopeless. The project was okay with the family and gave a very open look into the Reiner home during a time when Nick's problems were getting worse. The movie starred Carrie Elwes as a version of Rob and Nick Robinson as the made-up version of Nick. It showed first at the Toronto International Film Festival in September 2015 before playing on Stars the next year. At the center was Charlie Mills, an 18-year-old with addiction and the son of a famous movie star who had gone into politics. Charlie was angry at the strict, strong way his parents tried to handle his addiction, especially the many forced times in rehab. The family later said that this feeling matched their own real life at the time. The story did not have a happy, easy ending. It ended not with everything fixed, but with a short break, a temporary stop in the fight. The father says sorry for how he treated his son, admitting he had been too harsh and not understanding. Rob later said that the sorry in the movie was like one he felt he owed his own son and had already said in real life. Talking years later at a dinner with his family, including Nick, Rob said that when Nick told them the treatment way was not working, they did not listen. He said that fear made their choices and that they trusted doctors with degrees more than their own child, even when that felt wrong. Michelle added that they had been told Nick was lying and trying to trick them, and that they believed it then, something she later saw as a mistake. Nick said little in that talk, but he did say that he finally chose to stop drugs because he was tired of the life he had. He described being tired of the mess, of having no home, of acting in ways that did not fit the family he came from. Reviewers later said that the movie helped the family work through how Nick's addiction had changed their lives. During a question time after a showing at TIFF, Rob said that the project had not been meant as therapy, but that it became healing. Anyway, when asked about their relationship, he said there had been arguments during making it and admitted that at times it was very hard to agree on how honest to be about their real life. Nick said that those moments could feel too much for him. When Rob talked about the movie helping them get to a better place, Nick did not answer. In later talks, B said that by the time the movie was done, his relationship with Nick had gotten much better. Still, Nick said he was not sure about being part of it at all. At one point, saying he was not sure he wanted to be there. One reporter felt that Rob's hope for everything being okay was more a wish than really true. Critics said that the movie had two opposite views that never fully came together. One side with the son said that getting better is long, hard, and without a clean end. The other with the father focused on finding closure, getting through a bad time and moving on as if normal life could just start again. The review said that those views did not easily fix, even by the final hug. In the days after Rob and Michelle's deaths, Being Charlie came back on YouTube, becoming a place where people talked about how parents should help kids with addiction. Scenes that once felt made up now felt heavier. Especially one fight near the end of the movie between the father and son inside the family home scene. Now the movie feels different, almost like a look into the Reiner family, only that people didn't know it yet, until the couple met tragic ends the long road that led to an unthinkable ending for many parents watching this case. The most upsetting part is not the killing itself. It's the long road that came before it. Nick Reiner fought addiction for years. A fight that kept pulling his family into times of fear, hope, and anger. Since Rob and Michelle were found dead inside their Los Angeles home on December 14th, the case has shocked Hollywood. But it has also really touched parents whose own kids face addiction, making many face questions they know too well. Nick's addiction had been known to the public long before his parents' deaths. In a 2016 interview with People, he talked openly about a fight that started in his early teens and got worse until he was living on the streets. At that point, he said he had been through rehab 18 times. Even with a lot of money, treatment was never easy. According to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, the average cost of one person's rehab in California is more than $56,000, with long programs sometimes costing millions. While families like the Reiners could pay for care, having money alone did not make getting better sure. Mental sickness often makes addiction harder, needing extra help. In Nick's case, talk about his mental health grew after the killings. Though a Reiner family speaker did not say any diagnosis at the time, what was clear was that Rob and Michelle, like many other parents, had a hard time finding a way that really helped their child. Years earlier, they said they were sorry about how they handled his addiction. In a Lowe's Angels Times interview, Rob and Michelle talked about how regular rehab programs worked for some people, but not everyone. Rob said that when Nick said the programs were not helping him, they did not listen. He said the worry made them trust doctors with degrees more than their own son, even when that later felt wrong. Even with their trying, Nick's problems got worse over the next 10 years. One person close later told people that his addiction was way beyond what his parents could control. Another close person said they could never get steady with him, even after trying everything from giving him space to keeping him near. The situation was called a parent's worst dream. After Rob and Michelle's deaths, stories came out that Nick had been told he had schizophrenia before the killings. Two people who knew directly told TMZ that he had been taking medicine that made him act strange and dangerous, and that his medicine had been changed about a month before the murders, after which his actions got worse. Those people also said that keeping using drugs was making his condition worse. None of those stories have been proven by the family. What is proven is that Nick was arrested on December 14th at about 9:15 p.m. hours after his parents were found with deadly knife wounds. According to the Lapt, he was found near the University of Southern California campus. He has since been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman said the charges can mean life in prison without chance to get out or the death penalty, though they have not decided if they will ask for the death penalty. Nick has not yet said if he is guilty or not. In the days after the arrest, stories from Nick's childhood came back. A former yoga teacher who worked a lot with the Reiner family talked to people about early behavior problems she saw years before the killings. She described Nick's actions as hard and tricky to handle, calling it a perfect storm that did not have easy fixes. She said that Rob and Michelle did not give up when problems came, but instead looked for more help, finally asking her to work with Nick alone to help him calm down and control his feelings. She remembered times of getting better during those lessons, but said the bigger problems kept going. In her opinion, Nick's issues were more than anyone could fully fix. She described Rob and Michelle as very caring parents, pointing out Michelle as especially loving and saying she lived for her kids. When news of Rob and Michelle's deaths came out, the teacher said she was shocked but not surprised by how deep the sadness was, saying that the couple never stopped trying to help their son. She said, "Some situations are simply beyond what any parent can control." Earlier this week, the couple's other children, Jake and Romy Reiner, spoke to the public for the first time. In a statement, they described losing their parents as horrible and crushing, saying the pain was too big to imagine and always there. They did not talk about the charges against their brother, instead asking for privacy and for their parents to be remembered for the lives they lived and the love they gave. Nick appeared in court for the first time on Wednesday, where he gave up his right to say guilty or not right away. His court date was moved to January 7th, a move that law experts said could give time for a mind check to see if he is okay to have a trial. During the short time in court, he only answered to say he understood his rights. He stayed mostly out of sight, sitting away from cameras, wearing a suicide prevention smock. His lawyer, Alan Jackson, later told reporters that the case had hard and serious problems that would take time to figure out. He asked for calm and respect as the court work went on, saying not to decide too fast. Until his next court day, Nick Reiner stays in jail at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility. And over everything is a truth that many families know but rarely talk about openly. The truth that love, money, and never giving up do not always lead to getting better, and that some fights leave hurts long before they ever become big news. 9 days before his death, Rob Reiner told the truth about his son. Just hours before Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, were killed inside their Brentwood home, the experienced Hollywood director reportedly told friends something few parents ever say out loud. He shared that he was scared of his own son and afraid that his son could hurt him. Those words were said late Saturday night at a party full of stars, shortly before Rob and Michelle went back to the big house where they would later be found dead. According to stories later told by people who were there, Rob said that he never thought he would say such a thing, but that fear had gotten to a point he could not ignore anymore. In the hours after the killings, those words were talked about again among close friends as they gathered in shock, their meaning suddenly too real to ignore. Both deaths were later ruled killings caused by many sharp force injuries by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. As religious Jews, Rob and Michelle would have wanted to be buried within 24 hours. Instead, their bodies stayed with police as detectives started a double murder case. Instead of a burial, friends quickly planned a memorial to honor what they thought the couple would have wanted. Among those, there were Billy Crystal and his wife Janice, Larry David, Bill Maher, and Conan O'Brien. All had been at O'Brien's holiday party the night before the killings. It was there that Rob and Michelle came with their son, Nick Reiner, reportedly because they were afraid to leave him alone. Nick, 32, had been living in the guest house of his parents' $13.5 million Brentwood home. He had fought drug addiction since his teens, been through at least 18 times in rehab, and had times of having no home. People said his actions at the party were strange and upsetting. At one point, Rob introduced Nick to Bill Maher. According to stories, Nick cut into Maher's talk. Maher reportedly told him he was in the middle of a private talk. Nick got mad, stood still, stared at him, and walked away fast. It was moments later. People say that Rob went to friends and said his fear about his son. Those words would later be talked about again at Monday's memorial, where the feeling reportedly got heavy as what they meant became clear. The Daily Mail asked for comments from people speaking for those at the party. One person said Rob did not make the comments at the party. Hours after the party, prosecutors say that Nick went home and killed both of his parents in the early hours of Sunday morning. That afternoon, a massage therapist called the couple's 27-year-old daughter, Romy, after not being able to get into the home. Romy hurried over and found her father's body before running away upset. She later learned that her mother had also been killed. Billy Crystal was seen outside the house with his wife Janice, wiping away tears as police came. Crystal later joined Albert Brooks, Larry David, Martin Short, and Barry Levinson in a statement praising Rob Reiner as a great funny actor and a master. Storyteller. Police said both victims were found in the master bedroom and that no other suspects were found. Nick was arrested around 9:00 p.m. Sunday near the Expo, Vermont metro station. Earlier that morning, he had checked into a hotel in Santa Monica. About an hour before his arrest, cameras caught him acting nervous while buying a Gatorade at a gas station. Nick has since been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and is being held without bail. He appeared quickly in court wearing an anti-suicide vest and did not say guilty or not. His lawyer, Alan Jackson, said it was too soon to do that and asked for more time. Nick's court date was moved to January 7th as prosecutors kept thinking about whether to ask for the death penalty. Friends have described Nick as quiet, shy, and with dark humor in earlier years. Rob reportedly drove him to and from work every day. Nick later tried stand-up comedy, getting good spots because of his dad's help. At one point, he joked that staying sober for a year would feel like forever, a line that later was in Being Charlie, the movie Nick co-wrote with his father based on their real-life fights. In the months before the killings, friends said Nick's mental health kept getting worse, leaving Rob and Michelle feeling helpless. On Saturday night, they brought him to the party to keep him close. By Sunday morning, prosecutors say Rob Reiner's last warning had become a terrible reality. Do you think Nick will ever tell why he killed his parents? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video on your screen. You will like it.